Mrs. Peterson?
Can I, help you?
My name is David.
Hey everyone, Daniel and Chris here from IGN. Now, you've seen The Guest, starring Mr. Dan Stevens. Look at him, shooting you in the head right now. So, first up, what is this movie about?
This movie is a thriller about a stranger who comes to town and visits this family. He's a former soldier who's been discharged and says he's a friend of their son, Caleb, who's died in action. And so they kind of welcome him into the house, and he tells them that their son loved them and says all the right things, and they kind of invite him to stay for a few days. Yeah. And then the rest of the film is kind of about who this guy is, where he's from and what he's up to. Okay. But I don't really want to say too much because it's kind of spoilery. The second half of the film is very different to the first half.
The way you said to me, if you kind of... It's a film that pays homage to lots of very specific movies and genres.
Yeah, but particularly from the 80s.
But if you revealed what those movies were, or maybe the directors associated with them, you kind of betray the plot.
Yeah, you'd have too much of an idea of who this guy is.
Okay, so let's try and circumnavigate all those kind of icebergs. Yeah. Is it very good?
I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's really entertaining. It's by the guys that did You're Next, horror film that came out last year, which is one of my...
showed at Fright Fest, but it's not a horror film.
No, it's not really.
Elements?
There are elements. There's quite a lot of violence, quite a lot of hardcore violence in it. It's not an out-and-out horror. I'd say the genres it touches upon are more kind of thriller, action, black comedy, and some other stuff that I don't want to say. Okay. But it's not an out-and-out horror. I mean, their previous projects, Horrible Way to Die, You're Next, the VHS segment they did were horror, but this is kind of slightly skew-whiff of that.
Okay.
But the films it homages to, I would say, are definitely horror films.
So what's he like? So obviously he's a big star from Downton Abbey, and this is him trying to make maybe a segue to Hollywood?
Yeah. I guess in the UK this is going to be sold off the back of it's the dude from Downton Abbey.
Downton Abbey's big in America as well?
Because my mum was interested. I'm not, because I've never seen Downton Abbey. I didn't really know who he was.
Do you think your mum would like this?
No. Okay. But he's great in it. I mean, to be honest, if you're watching it, the first half of the movie, his performance is a bit odd, and you're kind of thinking, what's this guy up to? Like, you're not sure if he's actually... not very good in the film, but as the secrets kind of become apparent and the truth becomes revealed, it's actually a really clever performance. But it couldn't be more different to this kind of posh toff he plays in Downton Abbey. He's kind of he comes from the south. He's got this charming southern accent. He's kind of tanned. He's buff. He's got a six-pack. There's a scene in the film where he kind of comes out of the shower, and I heard the girls in the cinema I was in kind of take a deep intake of breath, where he's kind of using his sexuality to control the daughter in the family.
As you would.
But yeah, it's really unusual. Like, I think if you came into it not knowing who he was, you wouldn't know he was a Brit.
You, in the review, talk about music playing a prominent role in the movie. Can you say a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I believe the guy Stephen Moore is the guy who did the soundtrack, the score, and it's really good. Again, the film is full of references and throwbacks to movies from the 80s, and the score couldn't be more 80s. It's electro synth. It's very much like some of the best of John Carpenter. They've obviously...
now you're talking my language.
The guys who wrote it, Simon Barrett, directed it, Adam Wingard, and they worked together on all their movies, and they've obviously decided we want to pay homage to Carpenter's 80s movies and tunes, and they've done a really good job. Like, I'm going to be buying the soundtrack to this one.
This is really stylish still. Is the film kind of like that?
Yeah, it's very stylish. Like it's set at Halloween for no apparent reason, so there's lots of Halloween. There's a Halloween motif running through it. There's a Halloween dance at the end of the film. There's a scene where they're carving pumpkins. There's jack-o'-lanterns in loads of scenes. Okay, but it's kind of neon lit as well.
Is that a Carpenter thing, or
it feels like an 80s thing? Like there's
it's like E.T. Maybe set it at Halloween, not really about Halloween.
No, yeah, definitely. Maybe.
I'm not saying this is like E.T.
No, and I'm not saying it's like Halloween, but maybe it's like Halloween. And yeah, it looks really cool. There's lots of neon in it. It reminded me a little bit of Drive in that respect, in terms of the visuals and the score
and his performance, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, a little
strong,
bit.
Silent type. No,
he is. Yeah, he's cool, calm, collected. Yeah, he doesn't say much, but he gets his point across in this.
So, in conclusion, what do you think of the movie, and would you recommend people go see it?
Yeah, I thoroughly recommend it. I mean, my negatives were because it keeps moving between genres. That the tone is a little bit uneven, and a few times early on, you're kind of scratching your head, and it doesn't really ring true, but. It's a real blast. You know, it's really good fun. It's quite brave and audacious of Adam and Simon to attempt this because there's a lot going on. And overall, I had great fun with it. I've seen it twice now, enjoyed it just as much the second time. So I think it's kind of a cult classic.
So what have you given it?
I've given it a 7.8 out of 10.
On the Tilly scale?
Yeah.
So is it going to get a limited release?
I don't know what release it's getting in the UK. It's out this week, 7th of September in the UK. I think it's getting reasonably nationwide, and then it's 15th of September in the States.
Awesome. I really want to see it. So for more on hardcore violence in Downton Abbey, stay right here on IGN. We'll do our best.